So there's a couple different approaches to the way that we sort of look at this whole process and talking about, really selling and negotiating big ideas or creative ideas. And that really starts with the most important thing. You got to have a good idea. Light bulb. Seems pretty easy, right? Seems like a pretty straightforward concept. Well, what if we don't have any good ideas? Well, kind of have to ask yourself a question, and basically, I can't help you if you don't have good ideas. That's probably for a different brown bag lunch, maybe one that covers creative strategy. So we're going to live in a world where we do have really great creative ideas. Thumbs up. So this brings us to my trademarked and patented 5 simple steps to selling and negotiating big ideas. Step 1. A good idea doesn't care where it came from. So I know this is sort of a cliche thing to say, and that we've heard this 100 different times, but it's really, really important to understand from my perspective as somebody that is in front of the clients and negotiating financials on the contract side. I just want the best idea. And for us, it's really, really important for all of us to really get behind it. And it doesn't matter if it comes from the account side, the creative side. It doesn't matter if it comes from the art directors or the designers or the writers. It's typically a conglomeration of all those things. But the most important thing, I think, is that there's also a stigma to some degree with creatives, and I'm not going to put us in that corner, but I will a little bit, that we're the only ones, or the creatives are the only ones that can come up with great ideas. That's not true. And the sooner that we can figure that out, the sooner we can all go hang out and drink margaritas. Understanding who we're talking to. This is another piece of business or another piece of the process that historically I've seen a lot of different folks really, really struggle with. From the creative side, from the account side, from the technology side, is that we really have to understand who we're talking to, who are we negotiating with. So in an ideal scenario, we're talking to the client, we're pitching to the client. So that means really understanding who we're talking to. We as an agency spend a lot of time thinking about who we're talking to, spending time researching who those people we are talking to. I do a lot of time virtually creeping on people via LinkedIn and social media, and Twitter, Facebook, and that stuff. Background checks, things like that. We're not beyond that. That's a big piece of understanding the business, is understanding who you're going to be in front of during that presentation. And sometimes it's important to know a little bit about them and their background, where they worked, where are the relationships that you can sort of make a connection to. And this also goes to say that for creative folks or for younger account folks that haven't had an opportunity to get in front of a client, or maybe you haven't had an opportunity to go into the big pitch, it's really important to do your homework. So step 3 is another part that, again, it sounds kind of cheesy, but you have to believe in the team and believe in the process. When you're in a situation, or when we are in a situation, pitching to a client and trying to negotiate or sell, I have to trust that we've all done our homework. I have to trust that the team has always done our due diligence and that we know what we're talking about. And believe in the ideas. And a lot of times, you get excited about something and it's not hard to sell that up. Just because it's your idea doesn't mean it's a good idea. And just because your idea didn't get picked doesn't mean it's a bad idea either. So it's really important to be passionate and to be strong in your convictions, but also to try not to be too big of a dick about it. And that's to be a loser. And this goes with the territory. I really fucking hate losing. Probably more than anything else in the world. I'm not necessarily really good at everything or anything, but it's something that I hate. Like, that passion for losing is something that I just can't stand. So what does it mean to be a loser? Well, I apologize for this slide, but there's a little bit of a cross-pollination of idea here that, like, even though these teams maybe have not been all that successful in the past couple of years, they still have a really passionate fan base, and we still root for them, and we still care. And because all of us have this undying thing in our head that says that we will see a championship in our lives or before we die. So that's really important, right? So I think there's part of that that it's very important to lose because it makes winning that much better. But it does suck. And I hate it. And especially when you pour your heart and soul into something and you believe in something. I think the hardest thing I've learned through losing is that for me now, it's not a personal losing if we lose a bid or if we lose a contract. It's the entire agency and it's everybody that put their work into it. And that's something I think about all the time. Like I lose sleep over it and I don't like it and it makes me really angry. So that brings us to the final point, which is not trademarked, which is fuck it. Because it's the most important thing that at the end of the day, and I know it sounds a little crass, but seriously, you might only get this one opportunity, right? And if you hesitate, you're never going to go there. So sometimes you have to say, fuck it, we're going to go for it. We're going to go all in, and we're going to put everything at stake here and try and pitch the craziest ideas that you've ever pitched before.